Hello everybody, Perko here with another pontification. Today I'm talking about diabetes, type 1 and type 2, insulin, OZEMPIC, and the history and costs, expenses, and why it is there's so much more diabetes around than there used to be. I looked up some records of a hospital, Massachusetts to be exact, that basically talked about how many people had diabetes in those days. And in those days it was fatal. There was no cure, nothing they could do for you. And you died within a few months or maybe a year. So the number of people showing up with diabetes was 0.004 of all the people that were coming with other problems. So not a lot of it. And there was no type 2 diabetes because type 2 diabetes is definitely something that has grown since maybe the last 60, 70 years based on, guess what, our diet. So fast forward to about 100 years ago when three young fellows invented, whatever you like to call it, insulin. And they put a patent on it, massive cost in patents. It was $3, $1 for each of them. And they were given the Nobel Prize for Medicine for the year. They then handed that patent over to the University of Toronto, who then sold it to Eli Lilly. I'm not sure what for, but basically I think they gave it to them and they said, this is royalty free. All you've got to do is start producing this so everybody who needs insulin can get it. Not a bad idea. Now, up till about a year or so ago, in the US, insulin cost around $100 for a vial, which lasted a month or maybe 6 weeks. They were then pressured a little bit because of that cost to reduce it to $35 a month, or for a vial, a month's supply. And I looked up what it costs to make insulin, and it's about $5 for a month for one of those vials. So they're still making a pretty handy profit. And now I'll move on to OZEMPIC, which is the latest cab off the rank of wonderful medicines that's going to save us from our own stupidity. And they started off with a price of around $1,000 to $1,200 excuse me, for a month's supply. There are some discounts that you can get, which get to as low as $200 a month as a sort of introductory offer, which is an interesting price still because I did further research and Doctors Without Borders said we can make this stuff for $2 a month supply. So, what else? And then I want to talk a little bit about the doctors who should be telling us how we can avoid getting diabetes. Because in America, diabetes costs their medical system around $235 billion a year. So you'd think they'd want to do something to actually reduce that. But they don't seem to bother. And that comes back to the training of doctors. And that doesn't seem to matter where it is in the world. The average doctor, pre-med, they spend about 11,700 hours in training over 4 years. Now, how many of those hours would you think they'd want to spend learning about something that's going to save hundreds of billions of dollars just in America? Would you think maybe 10%? Which is, say, let's say 1,000 hours, 500 hours, 200 hours, 100 hours? Surely it's worth 100 hours. 50 hours? In actual fact, it's 20 hours. And that's the same wherever you go on the planet. That's all they spend time teaching the doctors how to stop you getting diabetes. And when you think in the US, you have, I think it's 40% of the people are either overweight, when I mean overweight, and obese. But they don't. It's just, make more money. And unfortunately, that's the medical system these days. Anyway, that'll do for today. Ta-da for now.